I know many of you have practiced restorative yoga before, but just as a reminder, this is a kind of the inverse practice of a typical yoga class. So a typical yoga class, we're actively stretching, we're engaging the muscles in order to relieve tension and to stretch the body. In restorative yoga, the goal is to do the least amount of work as possible. And so when we get into these postures, the whole point is trying to relax effort as much as you can. And because we'll be like laying on props and laying in certain positions, you're letting the natural force of gravity be that which efforts for you to let go of tension. And I'll give you some guidance around the breath through all of that as well. Now, before we get into our first posture, we're going to go ahead and get centered. So please sit comfortably while we do that. Let your eyes close. Take a couple deep breaths in and out. And if you're feeling particularly activated, you might inhale through the nose and exhale out of the mouth. Just starting to let go of any effort. There's nothing to do in this moment, nothing to be except here. And start to feel a softening of your abdomen. Any gripping, holding, clenching, tension of the belly just starts to release. And in doing so, inviting some movement of the breath, some fuller breath down into the abdomen. Inhale, allowing the belly to expand. Exhale, allowing the belly to contract. This might happen naturally, but if it doesn't, invite yourself to also slow the breath down. Take your time as you inhale, and take your time as you exhale. Even this belly breath starts to invite you to relax and restore more deeply. And we'll return to this breath practice throughout our relaxation tonight. And so just to help invoke this practice, we'll chant the sound Om 3 times. So go ahead and take a deep breath in to begin. Om. 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 Bring your palms to your heart and bow the chin. Honor yourself as you are in this moment, body, breath, energy, and mind. It's in service of you that we relax this evening. Just letting the palms drop and the eyes lift, bringing yourself on back. So if you haven't done one of these with me before, the way it kind of goes is that I demonstrate a posture, we come into it, we practice it, we come out of it, I demonstrate another one, we just kind of keep the cycle going. And so for this first practice, if you have it, I'll ask you to grab your two standard bed pillows. These aren't special, like grab them right off my bed, except they're comfortable. I do pick nice pillows. And you'll want to bring them to the end of your mat like this and have them stacked one on top of the other. All right. Now, if you want a blanket to cover up with during this practice, you can just have that nearby. All right. But what we'll do is we'll come to sit with the pillows at our backs. Okay. And let me just quickly show you where we're going. I'm just going to lay down over this and we'll relax here. All right. Now, in order to do that, you'll reach behind you and you'll press the pillows downward. And then you'll slowly lean back over the pillows, letting the chest open, the arms fall out to the side, not higher than the shoulders, but not all the way down by your legs or your hips. Now, the legs can be in butterfly, feet together, knees wide. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can just extend the legs forward instead and have the feet about mat width apart, just so the hips can open here. Okay? And so that's where we're headed. And if you want a blanket to cover up with, again, have that nearby. I know it's winter time, so that might be something cozy for you. And really making yourself comfortable is important in restorative yoga because once we're in the posture, you want to try to remain as still as possible. And so if you're not there already, go ahead and lean back over the pillows. And if you don't have pillows to lay back on, you can just lay down on your back here. Maybe bring something under your head to support. Feeling the heart open here, palms face up. Relax any clenching of your jaw. Relax any squeezing of your eyes. The eyelids simply meet as the eyes close. You're feeling the spreading open of the belly, the spreading open of the hips and the pelvis. And make any final adjustments here to be still. So if you need to shift or twitch or itch, go ahead and get that out of your system now. And then bring yourself into absolute stillness. Of course, the breath still breathes, but all other movement stops. And if you haven't done so already, let the breath really be expressed in the abdomen. Now, sometimes when the body becomes still, the mind starts moving. And so to give the mind something to do, be aware of the breath in the belly. And if it's helpful to bring some inner voice to help focus the breath as you inhale, you can say, I am inhaling. And as you exhale, you can say in your mind, I am exhaling. If you want something that feels a bit more meaningful than that, on inhale, you could repeat in your mind, I am here. And as you exhale, repeat in your mind, I have arrived. I am here. I have arrived. I am here. I have arrived. Staying here for just a little bit longer, breathing to the belly and letting go of effort. Nothing to do. Just be. And so allow your first movement to simply be the thought of movement. And then allow your breath to deepen. If your feet are together in butterfly, extend your legs down to the floor. And in your own time, carefully roll to a side. And gently peel yourself back up to a seat. Before you get too externalized, just feel sensation, what's happening in your body, even from that one exercise. And while you're adjusting, I will demonstrate our next posture, which you'll only need one pillow for. And Jen, you could use your cushion for this. And so I'm going to take the pillow, and if it's lengthwise, I'm just going to fold it in half, okay? And just so there's a little bit of height on it. Now, once we get into the pose, if this is too high, you could simply unfold the pillow. But what I'll do is I'll come to sit my hip on top of the pillow fold, and the pillow is halfway through down the mat, all right? Now from here, I'm just going to relax down onto my side. I'm going to scoot this down because I'm crashing into the wall over there. There we go. You're going to relax down onto a side. And so the hip bone is on the pillow fold. My legs are extended forward down to the ground. If this feels too unsteady, like you're going to fall back or forward, you could open the legs in either direction. And then the top arm, the left arm in this case, is going to come overhead and you're just going to drape here. Now, if you feel like you need some support under the neck, your other pillow could come there. Or if that's too high, you can just grab a blanket and bring the blanket on top of the bottom arm and relax here. It's a little hard to do with this headset on, but you get the gist of it. So the arm goes overhead, and if that's too much, the arm can come back down, but we are trying to get a little bit of length, gentle length on the left side of the body. Maybe even the hands hold on to each other. If you get into it and you don't really feel like it's doing much, you could also bring more support underneath you. You could bring a second pillow underneath the hips. But this isn't so much about making it super deep. The work here is often subtle. And after a few breaths, find your stillness. Relax your effort. Relax the breath to the belly. And if you notice yourself breathing quickly, slow the breath down. The mind might naturally drift away. And just allow the breath to bring you back. We'll stay here for about another minute or so before we do the other side. Again, your first movement is simply the thought of movement. The second movement is a deepening of your breath. And then take your time as you bring your left arm down and slowly and carefully peel yourself away from the floor. Again, before you externalize too much, be aware of sensation. And again, for some of us, that might have been more of a subtle practice, but you might feel more of the impact as you're out of it. And when you're ready to do the other side, you can simply spin around. I'm turning around so that I continue to face you, but you can just roll over. And again, we'll take the pillow, we'll fold it in half lengthwise, compress it down. We come to bring the hip bone, right on top of the center of that pillow fold. And go ahead and recline down onto your left side this time. Again, starting with the base of the body, the feet, the legs can be stacked if that feels stable. If that doesn't, you can separate the feet a little bit or even bend the knees. What I did on the first side, I'm realizing on this side too, is right now I'm bending my left knee, but straightening my right. That way I keep more length on the right side. And then you can extend your right arm up and overhead. Again, you might clasp hands. The arm might just lay over your head. Again, make yourself comfortable. And after a while, relax all effort. And then relax the breath to the belly. Where else are you holding tension? Where else in the body are you efforting? Can you let go? Returning your awareness to the breath when the mind wanders. Now, again, the first movement is simply the thought of movement. And then deepen the breath. Bring the hand down, the right hand, and begin to peel yourself away from the floor, slowly bringing yourself back up, staying with your inner experience for just a little longer. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple of options for this next one because you might not want to do it. And there's many reasons why you might not want to do this one. This first exercise I'm going to offer you. One might be if you're on your menstrual cycle or if you're having stomach cramps, you might not want to do this. If you just ate, you might not want to do this. So I'll just show you this one and then I'll show you the alternative. Okay. And so if you're all good to go in the abdomen, you're going to take the same blanket roll or the, sorry, pillow fold and compress it down. And from here, you're going to come to bring your belly, soft part of your belly between the hip bone and the floating rib, to rest on top of the blanket, or so the pillow fold. And what this does is it presses the pillow, of course, into the abdomen. And over time, with that compression, it starts to relieve tension in the abdomen. But it's not the most comfortable thing you'll do today. All right. And so in this pose, you would have the feet a little wider apart, maybe toes pointing out, and the head comes down onto the backs of the arms, and we'll just breathe here for a while. Now, if you don't want to do that for any reason, and that's okay, what you'll do instead is you'll slide your pillow toward the back of your mat, maybe about this far back, and really depends on height, okay? And you might do two pillows. I'm going to do two pillows. And you'll come to bring your knees onto the pillows. And then from here, keeping the knees on the pillow, you'll come to lay down like so. And what this is doing, and you want to be sliding forward enough that your pelvis is on the floor. And what this is doing as we relax here is it starts to stretch the quadriceps, the tops of your thighs. Okay? And you'll just breathe here for a while. So whichever one you want to do, pick one, knowing that you cannot make a bad decision unless it hurts, and switch to the other one. But if you can do either and you're not sure what to do, don't think about it that hard. Okay. I'm going to do the stomach press because that's what my body's asking for. Take care of yourself. Always take care of yourself. And you might have to shift around a little bit, whichever posture you're doing, to make sure that you're comfortable. If there's a adjustment you need to make that I didn't talk about, just go ahead and do that. And the forehead comes to the back of the hands. If you want more support there, you could always bring a blanket on top of your hands, something softer. And then try to find stillness. And then, though it may feel counterintuitive for both postures, try to bring some breath to your abdomen. Especially if you're feeling some discomfort in this pose. Breathe and just try to relax effort. When the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Keep breathing. We'll stay for about one more minute. Now, again, the first movement is a thought of movement, just mentally preparing yourself. And then deepening your breath. For both postures, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And if you have the blanket or the pillow fold in your abdomen, be really slow and careful with this one. But go ahead and press up to hands and knees. Just come to sit on the heels for a moment, or if that's uncomfortable, you can come sit on your bottom and feel. And take a deeper breath, bringing yourself back. Take your time with that. And do take your time. We got plenty of time tonight. So I made this an hour and 15 minutes. So we didn't have to rush through anything. Okay. So the next exercise we're going to do is going to be to stack both pillows at the center of your mat. And I'm realizing this as I'm teaching that I guess there's a kind of unconscious theme to kind of work with the abdomen and kind of this idea of elimination or like letting go. So if your digestion is really good after this, you're welcome. Because this is going to help to open up, free up space in the front body. So I'm going to go ahead and sit kind of on the edge of the pillows. Okay, so right here. So that way when I lean back, my sacrum, my tailbone, not the tippy point of it, but the where it connects to the waist, is at the center of the pillow stack. And then I'll just lean back and I'll take the feet wide, toes falling out, arms by my side. And again, this is one of those more subtle exercises where you might not feel much at first, but over time, you'll start to feel the front body stretch. Now, if you want to cover up with a blanket here, do so. If you need support under your head, blankets do that too. But go ahead and come into this posture if you're not here already. And take your time as always getting comfortable in these poses. If you get into it and you realize something is off, come back out of it. Try again. If you feel like the pillows are too high, you can always come up and remove one of them. If you feel like the pillows are too low and you have another pillow, you could always grab another pillow. And then bring yourself into stillness. Bring the breath down to the belly, especially in this pose. In the previous pose we did, no matter which one you did, it helped to press the belly into either the pillow roll or to the floor, kind of helping to relieve tension in the abdomen. And this is kind of a little bit of the inverse of that, where the belly is now opening and gravity is just allowing the internal organs, the bones, the ligaments just to spread open here. So in the last exercise, we were starting to break up tension. This is where we get to let go of tension. So you can just imagine if there's any hardness or any stuckness in the pelvis or the belly that is just melting off of the body here. Especially with that belly breath. Every exhale, you can let go a little bit more. With every exhale, you can, if you want to, repeat in your mind the mantra Swaha, Swaha. That's what we say in ritual when we let something go. Swaha. Swaha. About 1 more minute in this pose. Allowing there to be the thought of movement and a gentle deepening of the breath. And go ahead and bring the feet flat to the floor, knees bending. And gently roll to your right side off of the pillows. And if you need a moment there, stay there. But when you're ready, peel yourself away from the floor again, coming back up. And be with your inner experience as you come out. And so those last two exercises, so whether you did the abdominal press or you had the knees on the pillows, along with this kind of hip raise thing we did, great for constipation. Keep that one in your pocket. So we're going to go into a twist now. And so you'll need both pillows and maybe a blanket. And you'll come to, well, let me get this set up right. All right. You're going to have the pillows behind you like we did for our first exercise and just leave them there for a minute. We're going to move them, but it's a good place for them to start with this instruction. So you're going to sit nice and tall in the middle of your mat and have your feet on the floor about mat width apart. Okay. And then I'm going to drop my knees to the right, lift the left hip, and just kind of spin around to look behind me. Now from here, I'll kind of know where I can fold at this point. And once I know that, I'm going to slide the pillows over in that direction, pointing in that direction. Good. And I'll bring them as close to my body as I can. I even have the bottom pillow a little bit on top of my thigh here. That's how close you want it. And then I'll press the pillows down closest to me, and I'll drape my belly and my chest down onto the pillow stack. Now, a couple of options here. If you're feeling like your spine is nice and twisty, you might be able to look to the right, so behind you. If that's too much on the neck, you can rest your chin on your hands. If that's not comfortable, you could also just rest your right cheek on the hands. And again, you can always bring a blanket on top of your hands for more comfort here. Okay? So go ahead and come into that. I'll guide you through it one more time. If you're there already, just stay there. But stacking both pillows behind you, feet flat to the floor, sitting nice and tall. Go ahead and drop the knees to the right. Spin around to look behind you or as far to the right as you can. Slide that pillow stack up next to your hips in that direction. Press the pillows down and drape the body down over the pillows. And like the other postures, if this doesn't feel comfortable at first, go ahead and just make some adjustments. Shift, try things out. Bring any support where you need it. It's always good to give yourself some time here in these restorative postures to really find comfort. You can save the effort for your other yoga classes. And after a while, find your stillness. Let yourself just be in the pose, no longer searching for it. And even in this twist, allow there to be some breath in the belly. About one more minute. And allowing there to be the thought of movement. And deepening the breath. And if your head is turning to the right or forward, just turn it to the left. And then we'll all slide our hands down. And peel yourself away from the pillows and unwind. Be present with sensation. Especially this deep into class, you might start to notice a quieting of the mind. It's normal. It's normal. So go ahead and reposition the pillows behind you. We'll do this one all together since we kind of know where we're going. And bring your feet flat to the floor, knees bending, sit up nice and tall again. And this time drop your knees to the left. And if you need something covering your feet, you can do that now. And spin around to look behind you as far as you can. And then slide the pillow stack in that direction that you're heading. And if you need a blanket for your head, have that nearby at this point too. And then compress the pillows down. Drape the belly. It's closer. Drape the belly, rib cage, and chest down onto the pillows. If that didn't work, come up and try again. Sometimes you need to adjust these things. Find what feels good for you right now. And just because you turn the head all the way around on the first side does not mean you have to hear. You could look behind you, so to the left. You could bring the chin to sit on top of the hands or the forehead down. You could also just rest on your left cheek. And again, it's gravity's job to do the work here. So once you find as much comfort as you can in this pose, let go of effort. And find your breath in the belly. Slow it down if it's moving quickly. Breathe. Remaining here for just a little bit longer. And allowing there to be the thought of movement, followed by a gentle deepening of the breath. If your head is turning to the left or forward, bring it to the right. Slide the hands back and slowly peel yourself away from the pillows. Unwind and feel. All right, we're going to do one more actual restorative pose, and then I might offer you just a non-restorative pose to adjust your body. We're going to do crocodile, Makrasana. Some of you who were in my essential pranayama course this fall, you were, which is a few of you, are well acquainted with this one. There is a way to do this with a little bit of support, and so I'll instruct it both ways, but you might not need it. You might not need it. So let me just show you what it is without support first. I think that's going to be best. So in this posture, you come to lay down on your abdomen, starting with the feet. The feet are as wide apart or a little wider than your yoga mat. The inside arch is resting against the floor, the toes pointing outward. This spreads your pelvis and your hips into the floor. Now, what's happening in the upper body is that you're going to cross your arms in front of you, but your chest is lifting away from the floor. There's a little bit of space here. Okay, so this is not a face plant. The chest is not on the ground. Instead, you slide the shoulder, or so the elbows back. So they're just a little bit forward of the shoulders, and then resting your forehead on the backs of your hands. Now, if you want to make this, maybe a little bit more supported, you could bring a folded pillow under your chest just to help give you that lift. And this kind of takes the pressure out of your shoulders if you want to. For some people, that just gets in the way and it doesn't feel that great. So just do what works for you. If resting the forehead on the backs of the hands here doesn't feel good, you could also bring a blanket to rest on the top of your hands here. So it's like the full extent of the restorative version of this. But do what works for you. And so if you're not here already, I'll just guide you through the steps. If you're here, go ahead and settle in. But laying on your belly, again, the feet are about as wide apart as your yoga mat or a little bit further apart, toes pointing outward, inside arches resting on the ground. The pelvis is spreading open into the floor. And the arms are crossing in front of you, elbows just a little bit forward of the shoulders, and the forehead comes to rest on the backs of the hands or arms. Again, you can bring a folded pillow underneath your chest for support here. You can also bring a blanket on top of your wrists if you need that. I think as always in these restorative poses, take time to get comfortable. If you need to come out and readjust, do that. I like to think about it as you're giving yourself permission to be comfortable. And after a little while of adjusting, find some stillness here. Find your pose. And as you find your stillness, find your breath. And though it might feel counterintuitive, bring the breath down to the belly. Inhale, feeling the abdomen press into the floor. Exhale, feeling the abdomen relax away from the floor. Relax any residual gripping or clenching of the pelvis or the abdomen. If you liked our mantra from earlier, you can bring it back in with every exhale. Repeat in your mind, Swaha, Swaha. Swaha. While you are still in this pose, identify that in this moment you feel relaxed. Even if not all parts of you are feeling relaxed, identify that at least some of you, some parts of your system, do feel relaxed. Calm, steady, maybe even grounded. Bringing in the thought of movement and a deeper breath. When you're ready, bring your legs closer together and slide your hands back under your shoulders. Carefully press up to hands and knees. Take your knees wider apart. And if it feels good to you, and only if it feels good to you, sink into child's pose for a moment. Not technically a restorative posture, but a calming one nonetheless. And capping the forehead to the floor, the backs of your hands. When you're ready, go ahead and come on up. We're going to sit for just a moment. I know we're a little over time, but I just want to make this feel complete. So you can sit on a pillow or a blanket if you want to. You can wrap a blanket around you if you want to. And find your comfort in whatever seated position works for you. You don't have to be cross-legged like me. You can have your legs extending forward. And if you really wanted to, you could even lay down. But let your eyes close and settle into stillness once more. Not stillness because you're holding yourself still, but stillness because there's simply no longer any need to move. The movement that you do sense, allow that to be the soft belly. You might notice as you are grounding in a quieter, less active mind, calmer, more grounded body, steadier breath. Energetically, you might feel tired, calm. If you can, pay attention to some subtle movements of energy. In yoga, we call these the vayus, or the winds. Our practice tonight has activated two of those directions of prana. The first is apanavayu, the downward and outward movement of energy, the energy of letting go and elimination. You might sense that as a less tight pelvic floor. Energetically, you just might feel like you can let go of more in your life. And the other direction you might sense is samana vayu, the assimilating or digestive energy, which is represented as a spiraling inward at the navel. Energy moving in a clockwise motion at the belly. Processing food, waste, nutrients, and also experiences, digesting what's going on in the mind. Please remember as you move into the next phase of your day that resting, aside from being essential, is your birthright. We all deserve to feel calm and safe. And so return to these practices as often as you need to. So bring your palms together and bow your chin and honor yourself for surrendering tonight. Surrendering effort, surrendering even control for a little while. Allowing yourself to receive that nourishment which we all so desperately need. So until we meet again, namaste.